당간도 내셔라 규구버치 아니들라고 해봐 자신으로 마주두스 난테 페이스 논라터 줄장 CB 힘부 미지네 kimba me ba jese la len chi la ta ngala so chi ngai nga shubo yin sa yang so ki chi nga je chi le kimba le den de de kimba pang go yes pena kimba la de ngo so chi hi mi tora tan da kimba ra jo ro kimba la do kimba la mi tora tan so na jo an jo ne kimba ro yo wa ti je tan da ani kimba tha hin la de ani keda chimbo do mi pe keda chimbo cha den de yin ba yin na re kimba mambo tewa ina re ane roa mambo chiyo tewa la mi tsamagi mi mambo ki chana la kusho da tende chigi ina re roa tati jinse mambo ra tene ane nantoy pei nuanda tabchur na nantoy pesani di pe chupu insa ra nantoy se la nantoy pe la o digi nga zo ki gyuno rawa chi nga zo la tewa ina re ta dozu tsama kare la na ta kane mo kane yo na chana la nyeba yo na takwa yo na yuno yo na dozu tsama kare la na sibi pe yo na di nga ransu siba kwa le roa CB penju himbo mezing le tonju samala one ge chana khai la nga jo nekap la nga jo phen thoro nu yo ina ji so na sa chuna kala sa ene phen do yo ine ya pe phen do tha thuba da tha ba da thanji chimbo ko ma tha ge ani ju do ma de la himbo one tane ge ta khal himbo la na danda shu ke chimbo de yo ma re la ba sa ni ne ade yo ma la na di mi da 제가 되네 이제 가시기 된데 주여서 내가 오늘 가 주부이 내가 현다 주부이가 주노 주부이 근데 상을 소소에 키는 아제 제도 된데 왜 김바디 바방와디 아니 제시 상주 선바도 저기 아니 냠내레스.
So now we're looking at verse 19, which reads, "Even though I may be famous and revered by all, and as rich as Vaishravana, the god of wealth himself, to see the futility of all the glory and riches of this world, and to remain without conceit, this is the practice of all the Bodhisattvas." So here the explanation goes is that, we when we are, feeling proud and thinking that I'm so great, and, we hear pleasant words, in the form of praise from others who are famous and so forth. Many people respect us, and we may be wealthy and well off. So we should think that, all these things are, they are of some benefit. That's not to deny, but the benefit is just very temporary. And so all these things, do not serve, the ultimate benefit, namely, they don't serve as the cause for reaching liberation and full enlightenment. So in that sense, these things are, in some, short-term sense, they are beneficial and helpful, but not too greatly important, because they do not, lead us to enlightenment. And therefore, if you have all these, even if we have all these, things, we are well off and have a good reputation and so forth. We should still, nevertheless, understand that these things, or we should let go of our sense of pride. And this is the practice of the Bodhisattvas.
Tadi galles na tanda di shedan jong go ba di shibra tanda chi ko ma di tanda di o di kar lag dula na nganzo ge sosu ge daw se nam du khasang nganzo daw la di shulo ga da do chila sosu ge ani mi la di shulo do chi chi ra daw mu ne de kala na sosu shedan da na ge daw re sra tanda inza ne la da rangi shedan daw ma tu na la di sosu ge shedan ge daw di ma tu ra te ma tu wa ina 아니 슈로 도 먼저 슈로 도 미션 방에 이르래 줘라 근데 슈로 도 뜻이 표현이었어 다 간지 칼로는 슈로 도디 소소가 도도 마도 와이나 아니 슈로가 도도 야 페도 그래서 제가 저기 소소기 시장 마부 치와이네 파기 슈로가 도도 마르마도라 와 아니 도 뜻이 표현이었어 근데 인상 대실 근데 인바 인상 아니 상당 희지기 마봉 당한줄을 가르라나 도마 뚜야기 아니 가르라나 마도 먼저 수수기 시장에 도우저와 근데 도우도 마 뚜야디 아니 마봉 마도도 가르라나 아니 상당 희지레스 라 알아서 상당 희지리 가르 마게 파 카디자니로도치 아니 다디칼라나 수수기 시장시라 시장디기 아니 알아서기 de ro shena di ma pu di man joma che gores tende inza raju tu le su gi ju di ma tu ani je se shang ju sen be ani la len re la ra raju tu je se la len is le
And a very outer enemy. But in actuality, the real enemy is our own anger, our untamed mind. And as the verse says, even we may try to overcome outer enemies, but they will rather become more. So we should therefore apply the qualities of the mind of loving kindness and compassion for others in order to really overcome our true enemy. And then in that way came our mind. So this is the practice of the Bodhisattva. Then verse 21 reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to turn away immediately from those things that bring desire and attachment. For the pleasures of the senses are just like salty water. The more we taste of them, the more our thirst increases. So here this refers to all these various kinds of sense objects in form, sound, sights, tactiles, and what else? Forms, sights, sounds, smells, and tactile sensations, which are the objects of attachment. And it's saying we should not, overly be attached to all these things and make so much effort to strive for them. Strive for good food, nice soft clothes, and fame and whatnot, because they are considered to be like salty water. The more we drink, the more thirsty we become, and they will never quench our thirst. So therefore we advise here, as the Bodhisattvas are doing it, to immediately abandon the attachment, strong attachment to all these sense objects, because if we keep on having this strong attachment for things, we will never be satisfied. Yeah, so the English is pretty easy. Actually, straightforward. Yeah. Very easy. Yes.
So beautiful.
다들 다들 디스칼에 가고 있어요. 저기 샤주 무슨 대단 샤주 무슨 가고 이요. 어저 샤주 무슨 다들 대단 샤주 무슨 가고 있으니까 친구가 근데 이제 다들 나대지야 똑바로인데 디스칼에 가고 있어요. 근데 지단 상황 내가 알아서 뭐래 그런 상황이니까 그런 상황을 좀 나아야 지단 상황에서니까 강하게 알아서 생각이 생각이 똑바로 너무 채워 나오라 아니 생이 되게 저바타가 지난해 나도 저바타가 저바다 주로 전담을 해야 돼요. 이미 다도 그 생각도 아니 예 다도 채워졌을 때 매매바로 채워요. 그다음에 지난 음악을 있다고 해서 다들 생각도 나서 생각도 이해는 그러니까 이니시 되게 아니면 좀 취하는 상황이다. 좀바로 시행이가 되게 좀 시행이 아니 이니시니 좀쟁 아주 중요한 점바라 줘와 또 좀 그러면 좀 되고 잡아도 되게 대바지는 이유가 좀쟁 봐 좀쟁 세만은 되게 인터넷 대바레디 약보다 대보다 잡아 있는 거 지난 소리에서 대바지는 이제디 이제는 이해를 지들 텐데위 안에 대바지는 이제를 빡빡 먹으시라 이해를 지세라니 그냥 좀 대바지가 돼야 로레 샤마 좀라 근데 이제는 아주 지마 좀 빡빡 먹고 this goes
So then we have verse 22, which reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is never to attain concepts, or entertain concepts, which revolve around dualistic notions of perceiver and perceived, and the knowledge that all these appearances are but the mind itself, whilst the mind's own nature is forever beyond the limitations of ideas. So this is probably more difficult to understand because that refers to ultimate bodhicitta. Because generally speaking, there are two kinds of bodhicitta, right? We have conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. And ultimate bodhicitta is very much related to the idea of emptiness. So here, what this verse is talking about is that, there's always so many things that appear to us, or to our minds, and but never. However, if we were to search, for these things, really to try to pinpoint to something, then we will not be able to find anything, and we should therefore let go of this idea that grasp as objects are truly attractive and of being really truly the objects of our attachment. And the practice of the Bodhisattvas is to let go of that grasping at things to exist so truly. Because that's just the way they appear, but they do not exist like this in reality.
다들 중요시를 지가 다들 빼주고라 하고 다음 뒤에 타오치나 이 카드를 쓰는 아주 뭐야 빼지. 그래서 나가는 아주 이해도 우리가 이해도 우리 유다 체거나 그다음 좀 지기를 지수를 지하로다 야호로 통해서 수수 이해를 해. 근데 이거는 디카르는 수수를 대시해야 돼. 이야기도 약간 좀 자샤요. 자천 지신데. 자스는 이제부터 통고 파스가도 지금이 그 대만주가 우리 수지가 아주 예. 봐. 여러 가지 간도 되는데 그대로 빼는 그대로 이제 시다에 가서 시다에 매번 먹어. 이내 모두 나라도 샤디고 슈 때문에 그 세대 때문에 지요만요. 봐. 그 박자도 그래서 최근에 대법원에 가서 아주 수다가 아주 통고를 나가서 인데스 먹어. 이내 수수sama 가는 수수노다 대버트도 된제왕이 지난해 칸이 또 이거로 이내 다시 집이잖아 이거 나왔어. 디스칼레가 또니 가면도라. 근데 인자 아니 대법마트고 인자 시비 대법에 인자 만나서기 아니 이야기 아니 차왔다는 거 이제 시에도 자선. 대로 자선 카드가 미기고 같은 거 가는 이유네. 대법마트도 들어왔어. 디나신이 페페 나라서 시도를 이렇게 택시비 때문에 같이 차와 있는 자선 샤바 나시 예스라. 대는 제발 하야 대바면 딱 받아요. 제발 이유 그때 대바도 지용은 디나신이 되라고. 대대에서 그래 신바나 차고 무슨하고 뭐 예세요.
And verse 23 reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to let go of grasping when encountering things one finds pleasant or attractive, considering them to be like rainbows in the summer skies, beautiful in appearance, yet in truth devoid of any substance. So this gives us an example which illustrates, the verse above, which might be more difficult to understand first time around. So what this verse 23 is saying is that, it's comparing, attractive outer objects that we find beautiful, and inherently truly pleasurable, and they're compared to a rainbow in summer, which looks beautiful and which seems to be truly existent, but at the end of the day, there's nothing, again, we can pinpoint to or find. And likewise, all these desire objects, the sense objects, they seem to be truly existent, but where we try to investigate and pinpoint to something, that is truly a particular object, we cannot find anything. So they said that these objects exist conventionally, but are ultimately empty in nature, which is a bit difficult to understand. So that all these outer, sense objects, that we find beautiful and attractive and so forth, they lack true existence. They're like a rainbow, and therefore the practice of the Bodhisattvas is to let go of attachment to these sense objects. Until now we spoke about all these beautiful things we find attractive, that they lack a true existence. But the same applies also to everything unattractive, unpleasant. And this is very much talking about, this high the philosophical view of the Prasangika Madhyamika school, which is considered to be the highest view of these basically 4 tenet systems. So the highest view or the highest school is the middle way, or Prasangika Madhyamika school, or the consequentialist middle way school, that who holds the idea that anything that's true existence. And although of course we do, experience pleasure, we do experience well-being and happiness, and we suffer, and we have all these experiences. We get sick, we need to go to hospital, and so forth. All these things exist. However, they do exist conventionally, not ultimately. Because in this highest view, this middle way Prasangika Madhyamika view is very subtle, and it's when you hear this first time around, it's quite difficult to understand. And again, as we said, happiness and suffering, they do exist conventionally, but not ultimately, and they are like a rainbow. And therefore, verse 24 reads, the practice of all Bodhisattvas is to recognize delusion whenever one is confronted by adversity or misfortune. For these sufferings are just like the death of a child in a dream, and it's so exhausting to cling to these delusory perceptions as real. So here this verse speaks about suffering and experience, and it's compared to a dream one has, and in one's dream one's child dies, which is not really existent. And it's said that due to our delusion, our deluded mind, we have these perceptions that things exist truly, and therefore we strive very hard and tire ourselves by pursuing all these things that we find so inherently attractive and so forth. Or due to our deluded mind, we likewise grasp at this true existence, suffering, and so forth. But we should think that these things are appearing in a way because of our delusion, and they're not true existence, and that's another training, or that's another thing that Bodhisattva is training, and seeing the things as illusion or illusion life. So now what comes next is an introduction to these to the 6 parameters or the 6 perfections. And it starts off with the practice of generosity, but just to name these 6 in total, these are generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, wisdom. So these are the 6 perfections that are being covered now in the next coming up verses. The last one, please.
Jimbatana and the children. She's only the biggest user found in the Shuru Mopo to this, the moment of the bit, let up to each other, time, and then each other. And they should that Jimbata in the world of Kalmara is a science of an Chimatu and not the generation is value. You will have watched it, you never have watched it, to do the simple someone, typically simple. As a Jomo Jusunaja, this is another color. They see hand on Mazuki, Yin Parish down, Jimama is the regulation. The linear college, Jimata and Shumanga, Jewish money, Chubucha, Namilla, Ra. Then, any other. Tandopa Kalekata, travel the Hijay, that the dinner open to nay, the question on you. Mazuki, Tomani, Tomani, Tommy, Jamie, Tomani, Tommy, nobody, Tomani, Tom said, you did Tomani, Kizan, hello, and of course, we need a lecture, because of the bedroom, don't get that, don't set that, don't give some, because we need a dinner of the regular. She thanked the bishop. The day he was not going, no later than a week, was on my then a Saturday consuming me, but some time away, she led that got to the matter. So, when the family in the revelation, in a scientific about the question, and the other Kawada was on the Leo and Japapamadi is a scientific about the
Okay, so then we come to the verse 25. Which reads, the practice of all Bodhisattvas is to give out of generosity with no hopes of karmic recompense or expectation of reward. For if those who seek awakening must give even their own bodies, what need is there to mention mere outer objects and possessions? So this is, again, speaking about the Bodhisattva's conduct and saying that, what does it say here? For if those who seek awakening must give even their own bodies, and Geshema was referring to, the Buddha, who, just as an example, who in one of his previous lives, offers his own body to hungry tigers. And if they can, do even these forms of practices, these bodhisattvas, then it's fairly easy to give, material outer objects away. But what is most important when we give something to the poor, for example, we help a sick person. We should do so with a genuine, kind heart, right? And we should not have hopes for getting anything back in return or becoming wealthy as a result, and so forth. And what's best if one can also contemplate what is called the three spheres in English. So combining one's practice of generosity with contemplation of emptiness, thinking that, so the three spheres refers then to the giver, oneself as the giver, giving something away, is empty in nature, just like the thing that one gives to another one is empty of existence, and then the object or the recipient of one's generosity, these three are likewise empty of existence, and then it will become a really pure, genuine practice of generosity. But if one finds that too difficult, what is really most important to have a genuine mindset and to be free from any hopes and expectations.
It's true so much as I mean that's so easy come Chabata me that's so easy so this right then to Chimba is made to the game but that makes me all so channel in the Jake and Jake Cordodanjula Jake Studio doing so much so the Suzuki was Michelle Small and Michelle watching and give you today is essentially for the Thosamling Subamati, and the Davis big in the Balaya Machaba, and it's doing out of somebody, but I gave her Jesus.
Then verse 26 reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to observe ethical restraint, without the slightest intention of continuing in samsaric existence. For lacking discipline, one will never secure even one's own well-being, and so any thought of bringing benefit to others would be absurd. So this verse is talking about the way that Bodhisattvas practice ethical discipline. And if one were, say, trying to teach others how to behave correctly and how to lead an ethical lifestyle, but in turn would go around being dishonest, lying to people, or stealing from others, or maybe even engaging in killing and so forth, would not have ethical discipline, but would try to teach others about it, that would be laughable. Others would laugh about it. So, and whether one is monastic or lay person, there are different rules or vows one can take in practice. But in any case, it's the practice of the Bodhisattvas to have a pure ethical discipline. Okay, so there's a story, some of you might have heard the story, it's about Gandhiji, whom the Tibetans consider to be a Bodhisattva. And there's a story that one day a mother came with her child who was really fond of sweets. But the mother couldn't, persuade the child to, let go of that, having sweets. Anyway, so then she went to see Gandhiji, and asked for advice. And then Gandhiji said, and he was himself very fond of sweets. So and was having some during those times or days, whatever. And then he told the mother, I cannot give you advice right now, come back next week. And then during that time he then didn't have any sweets, because the point is, you have to have yourself a good ethical discipline in order to advise others.
I think
and you can all relate to this, and the mothers, children, or other relatives, and if they themselves have a certain, maybe not good behavior, but if they, teach their children to behave well, they won't listen, because the parents will just do it. Yeah, oneself has to, have, good behavior. Otherwise, the point is to try to teach others. Then we come to the practice of patience, and verse 27 reads, "The practice of all Bodhisattvas is to cultivate patience, free from any trace of animosity towards anyone at all, since any potential source of harm is like a priceless treasure to the Bodhisattva who is eager to enjoy the wealth of virtue." So here we're saying that Bodhisattvas, with their strongest attitude, they see harm-doers, enemies, as a precious treasure, and they don't have a sense of dislike or so towards them, and they are the ones who practice or cultivate supreme patience. And then verse 28 reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to strive with enthusiastic diligence, the source of all good qualities, when working for the sake of all who live, seeing that even Shravakas and Parateka Buddhas who labor for themselves alone exert themselves as if urgently trying to extinguish fires upon their heads. So this is referring, first of all, in Tibetan, it starts off with the Shravakas or Parateka Buddhas, or initiators of solitary realizers, which are who are the practitioners of the small vehicle, and they are striving generally for their own benefit alone. But nevertheless, they make such a great deal of effort, as if their heads were on fire. Whereas, Bodhisattvas obviously strive for the welfare of all living beings. And as per definition, effort is explained, you're not just working hard, it means that too, but the definition is having joy in virtue, delighting in virtue. And here it says that it's the practice of Bodhisattvas to just not work for their own welfare, but to work and help benefit all sentient beings. Okay, so verse 29 reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to cultivate concentration, which utterly transcends the four forms of absorptions, in the knowledge that mental afflictions are overcome entirely through penetrating insights fused with stable calm. So this talks about Yashini or Shamatha, Yashini in Tibet, Shamatha, or calm abiding, practice of calm abiding, which is a higher form of concentration, which when conjoined with special insight or vipassana, which is the wisdom of emptiness, then will enable one to completely eliminate the afflictions. And but first of all, it mainly touches on, or says that it's the practice of the Bodhisattvas to utterly transcend the four forms of absorption. Well, they have different names, but we have these, generally speaking, these three types of three realms: the desire realm, form realm, and the formless realm. And then there are these four formless absorptions within the formless realm, which the Bodhisattvas nevertheless transcend and train in calm abiding, suffused with penetrating insight, no special insight or vipassana conjoined with calm abiding or shamatha.
바로 생각이 들어서 비슷한 시력이 같이 내와이나 나오라 내와이나 조비상 저거 미나기 제가 시력 가신 거에 대해 있는 같이 제가 또 사모 보고라 이내 시력 가신 내와이나 내가 수저 여바이 네가 내와이나 쉬우지 좀 조비상 주고 나는데 까리 가오체에서 뉴비에서 다다는 타다 대신 나서 타다 시력이가 나죠 타다 대신 고순 미부도 비해서 시를 공부 이제 쓰라는 거와 리카로 만족을 하는 아니 시를 매와이나 시를 가질 때 매와이나 자 아니 주바 도수사마 가르에 와이나요 아니 주비 사제기 사제 공부 타요 그래서 가르가라 디스는 주비 상 춤표 바 미니비 되게 사제 공부 타도 말이에요 디까지는 아주 사제 공부 타고 나서 가면 타다 시를 미가 보라 탑지고 되는 거 같다. 그것도 좀 타고 오시기라. 근데 이제 한타나서 또 이거 싫어 되면 아니 뭐 사진 보고는 또 뒤가는 자들 자로 그냥 쇼바지 있는 백가를 거다. 근데 왜 오천 거래서. 세상에 있는 타다 내시 있어. 아니 고속 모두 받을 때 돈이도 싫어. 고속 다 있는 그래서 여기 이제 바로 오시면 아니 바보보다 아니 동사기도 동지 너무 지하다. 싫어야 되는 거지라. 리뷰에 또 돈이도 싫어 양다고 보고 있어. 근데 싫어 보고 되네.
So then in verse 30 reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to cultivate wisdom beyond the three conceptual spheres alongside skillful means, since it is not possible to attain perfect level of awakening through the other five paramitas alone in wisdom's absence. So now we covered the first five of the six perfections, the last one is wisdom, and it said that even though one were to train in the first five perfections but would lack wisdom, then there's no way really to achieve full enlightenment. And so, the first five perceptions are considered to be the method, which needs to be conjoined with the last perfection, wisdom, and that refers to the wisdom of emptiness. And both method and wisdom are also considered to be like two wings of a bird, and bird cannot, just like a bird cannot fly with just one wing, we cannot possibly achieve enlightenment if we lack wisdom. And then it's again you're mentioning these conceptual spheres we touched on earlier. This is the wisdom of emptiness that sees that, for example, with regard to generosity, that the giver, the recipient, and the object given both empty of true existence. So therefore the practice of the Bodhisattvas is also to train in wisdom.
네 아니 같이 줄 거고 네 나도 다시 또 지내 나오는 참 되나는 참 되는 게 내버려 주죠. 참 지내 나오는 거래는 대도 거래는 가이 가르치는 참 되는 참 주고 싶더라. 쇼가 되는 순서대로 모두다. 쇼가 순서대로 그래요. 이내 되는데 차상 도시더라. 저런 좀 비파 수도 그러더라. 저런 거 쇼도 되더라. 이양 센스 때 패키지 뭐더라. 나가는 년에 지금 일단 더 오셔서 지금 내가 나서 사실 좀 나도 깔까 보라. 네, 근데 쇼츠도 수치도라. 지시를 되면도 진짜로 좀 오늘이 나는 마시지 않는데 왜 하나요에는 얘나로 단위 먹어줘야죠. 단위. 없어. 단위 미만 먹어줘야죠. 세상 내가 나서 그 다시 줄을 지어 보면 저는 내가 이제 맞춰서 참아대요. 나 다시 나 제발 이제 맞춰주면 가르 늘을 치서는 참아대나 단위 먹어주는다라도 소소 가르 그냥 보고 아니 시에 도시로 있어요. 봐. 얘도 막도 동시에 왔다. 사람들이 나오고 가르 때문이라. 아니 먼저 다른 류가 예수 믿고 간데서 아니 상태 처음 있는 류들이 있어요.
류가 유튜브나
가르 당하고 류가 유튜브에 있는데 상담에 있는데 이대가 가르치고 있는 상황이 나오고 상황만 상황에 걸리시고 제상들이 특히나도 받은 다른 것들을 장치는 자도 실로가 순서대로 되로서는 가문치 정한 차요. 나는 따라서 쓰고 있더라.
요 시포핑 뭐 있는
떠들어오는 데 봐. lokso kya ko tama na tanya ni de ko de chi tu ma la so so lo ha ko le che kare kare de ye ga sa de ko so ma chi yes ba ko de chi ka ni de chi pa na chi ka ba
So yeah, so Geshema says it's good to have a read through the text again and again, and also basically everything is included here in these 37 verses, which are quite quickly to read through, and it's basically all our thoughts and behavior, how we should train, our body, speech, and mind. Basically, it's all included in there. How we can diminish or lessen and then eventually eliminate our 3 poisons. How to train our minds to see the lack of true existence of things. It's all the 6 perfections are explained in there, so it's very profound, really. But of course, for us, as beginners, it's quite difficult now to practice exactly as it's described now. All the Bodhisattvas are doing it, but and then we might come across certain terms. But nevertheless, it's very advisable to read through the text again and again.
가장 얘기 배치 상담하고 지금 내 배치는 영수 따따따 때때때는 배배 받아 잘게 받아서 먼저 강시 지시다 이제 딱 가지다 이 통화입니다. 그러니까 농바들은 그런 소리야. 그대로 먼저 농바지가 그냥 나디라도 이거는 얘네 농바디게 직접은 얘 단도에 시고 말아. 얘네는 그대로 지금 딱 저좀 뭔지 지어라. 근데 이게 딱 그냥 참만 유주로 분다고 있는 누구 안에 파신 줄 거래 있는 누구 아니 자방에서 전방에 있는 누구 꼬마꼴에 있는 누구라 근데 너와 지금 순간고 참만 얘 유주선 되고 좀 제시해 이 나오는 루시시에 되는 하나가 손에 있는 거죠. 계속 기억이 디엔지에 로에 문이 이렇게 나라에 센스도 없는 기타 가서 중앙에 되게 상으로 지도는 돼요. 그냥 지도는 그냥 이제 이제 맞네 아니 So
I, from my side, I've studied quite extensively for many years. I studied, the topics such as mind and awareness, connected topics, Abhidharma and whatnot. So I looked at all these various texts of the Indian and Tibetan masters. But how I think that in this text here, the 37 practices. The essence of all these, texts that I've studied in greater detail, but the very essence is kind of subsumed in this text. It covers the 6 perfections, it gives some, insight in the middle way view, how to, eliminate our afflictions and so forth. So, and if you can memorize it, it's good, to memorize, but otherwise, just read through it. It's very good, yeah.
그래서 수술이야. 먼저 나라서 따지 치고 그다음에 다리 가서 못 했어요. 얘는 수술을 수술치고 라 수술치고 라인이 치과 라인이 맞다 나서 라인이 놓치기 수술 따지 맞아 와이나 먼저 가서 내요. 수술 따고 미리 수술이 말해서 수술 나라서 따지 치고 수술 따지 맞아 와이나 최배 수지 최면 지수를 먼저 참아 취지라고 봐요. 나중에 이제 최진이라고 최바이는 최전이라고 나중에 최바이는 최진이 말해서 미스터가 최진이 있어. 그래서 최배 수비 말해서 최바 지기는 최배 수비 수지키네 아니 최면이 내가 계속을 말았어. 스스로 받아야 따지면 나야 한다고 자지 가이 놓쳐야 되다니까. 최바 진짜 차별이 뭐라 스스로에 빠지고 그랬어. 대신 진짜 내리는 진짜 윤리 정말 딱 됐다. 이 제 거와 들어요. 수술하다 다시 베키지 레스라 대신 윤들 랑이 출발을 랑이 놓치기를 봐. 아니 땅에 공화 지세라 이제 따지 치니 아니 놓치 통에 이거 방아리 이제 생겼으면 그냥 내려서. 나이네 나도 이제 생겼으면 그냥 내려서 말아서 내가 지금 이렇게 그렇게 시리니 계속 가서 얘기 你这个这外场的事，你叔叔来打钱了，你打我来了是吧？你得打，那叔叔跟你他我你快帮，其实现在不是真的，其实你没记住的就，那马上说那也得多多钱了。
So then verse 21 reads, the practice of all Bodhisattvas is to scrutinize oneself continually and to rid out oneself of faults whenever they appear. For unless one checks carefully to find one's own confusion, one might appear to be practicing Dhamma but act against it. So this is saying that, instead of, blaming others for their, for their mistakes or for any problem, we should, check and investigate ourselves. We might say that I'm a Dharma practitioner, I'm studying the Dharma and this and that. But if we do not, really check carefully, check our own behavior and investigate whether we have made possible mistakes, we are not really genuine Dharma practitioners. So therefore, basically every day on a daily basis, any time wherever we go, whatever we do, we should investigate and check if we are making any mistakes. Whether we are together with others, talking with others, in conversations. We should be mindful of our own actions and behavior. And if we happen to know or become aware of a possible mistake, we should do our best to eliminate those. And in that way, we practice the Dharma like the Bodhisattvas do. And verse 32 reads, the practice of all Bodhisattvas is never to speak ill of others who have embarked upon the greater vehicle. For it, under the influence of destructive emotions, I speak of other Bodhisattvas' failings, it is I who am at fault. So this is saying that we shouldn't criticize or look down upon or point out the faults of other practitioners, the Bodhisattvas, or teachers, spiritual masters and so forth, because whether that has an effect upon them also is a different story, but it definitely will diminish our own merit that we've accumulated. So, generally speaking, we have the three vehicles, as it were, the hearer and being the solitary realizer vehicle, and then the vehicle of Bodhisattvas, which is the Mahayana vehicle. And here it speaks particularly about the Bodhisattvas. If we were criticize or look down upon them or point out their faults, it's us who are losing out. We will lose our merit by doing so.
되게 지워야 알아서 우리 교상들이가 교관을 상담하다 오바 그래서 먼저 그래서 우리 이제 저와의 양보를 했을 때 내가 선생님 아버지 이대에는 수술 교상들이 아버지 그래서가 내가 다가가는 아니 자히 소손자오다 아니 수술이 친구이 나를 소자시를 수술하고 가는 게 아니라 아니 kimzanji 아니 수술이 기다려 되게 친구가 나서 차파보면 되세요. 가래 수술이 지금 그게로 아마도 이제는 지금 아주 챌린지 요즘 하기 맞는데 요즘 위치에 한번 남자 죽어야 되고 봐. 그러면 아무도 시소나 이거는 수술이 죽어야 돼요. 수술 치료하시도 죽어야 돼요. 수술 감이시지. 근데 내가 오늘 또 차가 무슨 하고 있지도. 지난 가라서 그냥 지금 우리 뒤라. 제가 이제 사실 좀 받아서 되게 자신 상관에 안에 그 수술은 저어다 깔라는 거 심지어 한지에 집었다고 수수집부리 아니 이제 얘기 잘하는 거야. 다른 인자 되게 자신 거지. 그래서 사실 좀
So then verse 33 reads, the practice of all Bodhisattvas is to let go of attachment to the households of benefactors and family and friends, since one's study, reflection, and meditation will all diminish when one quarrels and competes for honors and rewards. So, yeah, if one has too strong attachment for wealth and gain and whatnot, and then starts quarreling with others about, for the sake of, or because of some wealth or gain, or gets into fights with some friends, relatives, and whatnot out of strong attachment, then it's, as it says very clearly here, then one's virtues of having heard or studied the teachings, contemplated about and meditated upon them, all the virtues will decline, and rather than three poisons will increase. And also we should not distinguish really between close ones and distant ones, but you as Bodhisattvas are doing, you all send these in the same manner without bias.
소시도 되래. 소시를 들어.
소시야.
예스. Mind fresh chate.
बाद में इस होलीनेस की मैं पूजा के बारे में
हाँ उनको समय है तो मेरे पास तो समय है लेकिन उन लोगों को कहीं जाना है पता नहीं थोड़ा माइंड फ्रेश हो गया मिशिंग अझ चुन्डी छैन मत अझ त चुन्डीलाई एप्पल लिएर 먼저 우주제를 포스트를
insist
차이는 거라. 먼저 들려 제야 저번에 애플 차고. 당하잖아요. 내가 지금. 그래. 들라를 먼저.
Ja, wenn Kaiser?
단다 먼저 우주제를 깔래 카나에 이 군에 우주제를. 먼저 그다 우주 차그러면 순리 차기. 순리래 그 개월을 줘. 당하잖아요. 정기는 도와 되비고는 장화에는 먼저 도와 차기래서. 그래서 먼저 깔래 카나에 우주제는 먼저 순리 차기 말이야. 우주 차를 그래.
Yeah, if you were to continue, just kind of insist, just persist, go on, and then that's not really meant with making effort, because we just we're finding it difficult, but still we keep on doing it. But having a break and then coming back and with a sense of joy, as we said before, effort is defined as having delight in virtue. So that's then coming back joyfully. Yeah.
정확히를 좋아하네. 우주는 포스트를 말해. 포스트를. 우주제는 미심하게 근데 치료가 된다 칼로. 포스트. Okay, that's
Force means it.
That's the other thing.
Insist.
Insist.
Insist is close to force. It's a milder form.
Force is
a joyful, like effortlessly, like joyful. Okay, this is now like.
You apply force, you could use it.
We're excited, I think, because it's the last day.
Huh?
So it's also the last day of the course. So it's maybe also affecting us a little bit. Maybe,
다 담아들 전주 책이라서.
Nima tama tama reji susula sen this.
Very good.
This something.
Okay. That is that has the drum yang sangra. Ani da khalan sunji so good tsubu tsik ngara tsubu tsik tsubu la sta ha shor la ra tsubu tsu wangi ani yense tru chu jin le ngzu tsik tsubu la wa ina phagi mi gi sen shiwa khelo ina ngzu tru she ra tru she ro she che tsumu tsu gi yense tru chu shin nis ani je se ji chu tsu nyamba che sang ngzu mi la tsu na ko de la wa ina yense shang ju se gi chu ba ro jo ti da thong ma res terma nyam ro res la ra ta kan ji mi la ngzu gi Mila Sitsubu in the Lavaina, Matsu Shanju Sen Gongi, Chichi Lana, Tita Mar de Mamarwa, Timanyamdo, Resla. The Shijenji Yid Moi, the Shingi Mishimbagi Yid Moi, like Geshea and the Chignam Jude and the Lavachina, Shid Moi and the Lavatan Chiju Marestra. But understood the Carlosna, Shin Yid Moi and it's Sitsubu that singing Bada, that the Nero, or the Summer Pond is a Shanju and Benyam.
So then we come to verse 34. The practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to avoid harsh words, which others might find unpleasant or distasteful, since abusive language upsets the minds of others and thereby undermines the Bodhisattva's conduct. Yeah, so it's pretty clear in the English. So we shouldn't, if you want to, follow the Bodhisattva's conduct, we shouldn't utter harsh words, to others, which will agitate their minds, because that would diminish or undermine the Bodhisattva's conduct. So Bodhisattva practices that way, that they refrain from saying anything that might, that others dislike or find unpleasant.
Tisi ngi la chane chone zara ta de yin ha masra ngara ge di mi le ke shana da o tsik phe ta na ni shi mi sra ne za ye ngara ge mu shyo nya le che mo che ta ma she chi chana zala la zam za ta ta de wa ma ra ne ta pe chana yi de la wa
Ja.
unde la de 하고서
말해. 강디 직접 미셔
스타
말라
지금
말해.
말에 단다 지금 보다 워시기다 근데 밀레 계신 해보시 오래 미 이도 뭐 지지요 말에 엔데 지시랑 올라 빼야 하고 시고 레이도 왔어 라디 빼서 나오려 된다 이 선생 뭐 집에 냠내들은 라차로 능아로 이네 시라 신이 미스라 결혼자 틀어야 지진을 보여거든요 시기로 틀어 보여봐 틀어 보거든요 주유시 빠빠 말에 포발라디가 심발라 마데오로라 얘기 시간을 남주된 다음에 결혼을 일을 마대와 지진에 주무시기로서
결혼 기준에 하고 와서
하라 대디서스티 마샤시 말해 저당 폴은 저기 니콜에 하셔올리 비슷한 그 심발로 보다 마대와로 어디로 어디 하고다 어디 그래서 단다디랑 아주 찌찌빵 거다 아니 수게 디야 계속 하고 싶거나 근데 신고도 이는 나랑 원래 엔데 메스 캐런절에 얘기 아니 투로 포버네 중요 시지를
강기지 라테니 보이제
시버로 하고 말아 근데 라다
Geshema was saying it might be that the case that because I can't do this practice maybe not perfectly, so it might be that you sometimes feel offended or affected in a way by what I say. I mean, negatively affected by what I say.
समझ गया नहीं समझ गया नहीं मेरे बोले कि जो मेरे तरफ से वो तो अच्छा करना है बाद क्या बोला जनरल करना है ऐसे बोला है ना लेकिन मेरे बात करते समय मेरे जो मोटिवेशन में तो ऐसा नहीं है लेकिन कभी-कभी मैं बात करते समय जो शब्द यूज़ करते समय दूसरे को जो नुकसान क्या बोला दुख देता है हाँ मैं भी ऐसे डाउट है क्योंकि मेरे की जो बात करते समय शब्द प्रयोग करते समय इतना अच्छा नहीं है ऐसे बोला है अच्छा ठीक है
So it's not my motivation, but sometimes certain words that I use or the meanings or the essence that I speak might offend someone, even though it's not my motivation, so forgive me. Something like that.
Sometimes I make my sisters our
Lady.
own lives.
Me, I have no motivation, but sometimes we don't know. Like other minds like is thinking different. So sometimes I don't know. If you are now you all here, they say, oh, I need a Geshe said like this. This is not good for me. Then not good. So that's why then I like if we are wrong, then I'm sorry. Like this, okay. Right. Now what you doing?
Don't need translator, no?
Yeah, I have no not enough, so I have not confident only. Actually, I tried she's not here. Then before I did some, but yeah, now she's here. Translator is here. Then this is very good. So otherwise not. Then I will try. Yeah. 근데 니 야부 유신 가서 야부 시 야부 유에 샴 소소 야부 메제는 지고 말아. 그래서 야부 유에 가서 야부 했다. 맨날 가서 나도 심부터 알아. 오케이. 다 디치라. 다 치즈 본다서서. 좀 세지 좀 어디지. 다 올라디 걸래들나. 녀모 코나 가서 녀모 받아 곰수마라 디를 가리 거기 뭐지 녀모데 안장 가서 줄 채워이나. 아니 님부도 바꿔라 디가라 들 님부대 라. 배 도야라 칼에 가고 차고. 곰수나 세상 때에 있는 가서 내가 두제지 나도 채워이네. 담부 지리가라 담부 신하로 어디 뒤만 수사면 빵 되고도. 지지니 제 숨지 아니 가리가라 곰러네 배빵 가고 차고. 배나 창도니 담부 신지 통과 뉴지라. 그런데 진지도 안돼도 타마테니나 가리는 투바자니나 가린 진지 아니 곰들 안 벌들 배야 수치고 전에 도야라 가리 가고 차이다. 봐. 근데 인사 아니 진주가래 나라서 뉴모도 샤샤도 지우는마 도고레스 도고치라. 때라 가르고 올라나 도고가왜 텐시 텐바다 신이라 주라. 텐바다 텐시 집에 가르 텐시 집유스 다 텐바다 시절에 땡기 집부터 말라. 두주기 예부 천수네. 다 갈라나 가족들 지 녀모도 손도 가서나 다도지샤 라 녀모디 다도지샤 딜라 안디 다도다 다치 소소 파 정고에 세디가 디바 정게데 유자도 가지고 천도디 가르라나 라 천샤도디 가르라나 템바데 시행기 템바데 시행디기 가서 산노 야봤다는 게 산노 갈래다 시행기 딜라 템바 타봤다 시 잘하다고요 라 가서 되는 거 시내 곰도도 템바 타봤다고 시행 잘하다고요 세상 가서 그 로디 거두고도 가르치기도 따네 수 따지치고 그래 다 인간에 알아서 디나신게 템바데 시행이게 천수네 아니 소소 녀모도 마짜야기 답시당 거래스라 차소 녀모 담보 지마타 세상 착바단도 차셔단 공동아지 거리는 지마타 소소랑 줄래 지마타데 가서 람사 당한 디마선데마 마 정고레스 라 눈좀 제발은 누월라디 지단게 친주지에 되는 남사 맞자면서 물어라디 가서 이렇게 자당로 지행으로 뜻이 정원도 남사 메워서 그래 야 전부 차선 아니 가서 배나 뉴모로 배 수청부지선은 가서 좀 약간가보다 빵카고 그래서 면종 제발에 아니 제시 상주 선바도 이게 아니 냠내래라
Okay, so then verse 35 reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to slay attachment and the rest mind's afflictions at once, the very moment they arise, taking as weapons the remedies held with mindfulness and vigilance. For once the kleshas have become familiar, they will be harder to avert. So this is saying that once we are habituated with various kinds of afflictions, it's more difficult to apply the respective antidotes to counteract these afflictions. So when we happen to engage in some negative work or behavior, we should think immediately oh, that's not alright, that's not appropriate. And when we start early, being mindful of them and recognizing negative behavior as such, is easier to apply the respective antidotes. We could think of also, kind of like negative behavior in the form of, say, maybe taking alcohol, smoking, or fighting with other or arguing with other people. Once these things have become a strong habit, it's much more difficult to eliminate those bad habits. So therefore, that's when mindfulness and introspection come in, which are sort of like weapons to overcome the enemy of the afflictions. And we should, as soon as we notice, due to mindfulness and introspection, as soon as we notice that afflictions have come up in our minds, we should immediately think, oh, that's not appropriate, that's not alright, and try our best to eliminate them or apply the respective antidotes, and do that for as long as the afflictions are still fairly small, because once, as mentioned, once it has become a habit or the afflictions are very strong, then of course it's more difficult to get rid of them. rangi semla nego kande ngudutan rangi semla ani kandeji chumba inas jund tenshi tam khadu ina be temba de shen ni ngarai kar chi gu ngarai kar sangutan temba de shen ni be taji shin du res ra tenda shi da karsa jund tenda shi demba is cheta tenhi dembi goni ani jende du tende ichi to ani chama jende du badi ani jese shan shan bada zo nyamne res cheta nga zo lega kar che waina so zo keji shen na donare denare namji tena khare chen so so la taji che gu de peke chambore tende chibi gan ani jende du res tende jese shan shan bada so bagi tende chi res. So then the verse 36 sums it all up what we had covered before. And so this is, the verse reads, in short, no matter what one might be doing, by examining always the status of one's mind, with continuous mindfulness and alertness to bring about the good of others, this is the practice of all the Bodhisattvas. So this is saying that, with regard to any behavior we are engaging in, physical actions, verbal actions, or, thoughts that we are having, all these obvious various kinds of, in all our behavior and actions and thoughts, we should always investigate, how is the state of our mind, how, what's going on in my mind, and then applying mindfulness introspection, while then going about and working for the benefit of others, whether we're going somewhere or are engaged in conversations, we should always be mindful and check on the state of our mind.
Teacher, tanda kalana teta tsumbe gansa ta tende ge so tsundu chin ra tanda kona so ani so jende dubala so bala mambo ji sa tende cheba yi ani kasana teta tsumbe dubi gewanam tas nganzu ge pe na jemba tsuru so jemba ta jiso phase to nyamne cha shanchu ge sen goma toni to be shiru la so ba goma ta mambo ji chego ra tende ge gewa khang chebadi ta nganzu yo ngogo ya ta pe na nganzu ge lasa gega tambo de nganzu ge chigim hona do je tama nganzu ge khang sa sha ji de ngkane ngu chi bana chen hwa de be ki chebo ra chesan de ho chebo ra tende yin za ani dribe gewa nam thayen roi 동해 세시실 세상이 예와 가르치기 있어난 것도 예식이 초다 다른이 제소 파제도기 냠네 간데지 지유에네 된수 상망 하나 짚고 그러면 더 심지 타지기 이 삼이죠 아니 더 심지 타지기 동해세 치도 이 삼이 라 대야 아니 코숨미미 별라데 단나라 코숨만 바타고라디 갈라 가서 토니도 베긴 로던 제고라 답이 있어 시럽지다 베는 먼저 토니도 비시럽지라는 거긴들아 아니 샹추 호와 제셀라레이레리 다 샹추레도 다다디고 샹추레도 사지기 고만하셔라 상아주기 따라 개와카르 사이나 페나가조 있는 이마추기 나로라 수수칼레잡 쇼깅하고 로보다 쇼바데 델라베 데사도 쇼쇼 야오메나 수수 칼레잡니라 저 가시를 그림디야 칼레카오치 칼레지잔이 마포치 제라 딩한 섬에 개와지 사이레 개와사바디야 수수치보 모임바 도아르도 숨젠하지 된수 섬에게 등에서 치딩이 섬에 직체 Dia ngi gewa tanda gi gewa sa shajudi ani nga saje koma thabe gi judo shola ne hocha.
So then, verse 37 reads, the practice of all the Bodhisattvas is to dedicate towards enlightenment all the virtue to be gained through making effort in these ways, with wisdom that is purified entirely of the three conceptual spheres, so as to dispel the sufferings of the infinity of beings. This is speaking about that we should make dedications of all our hard work that we've done, or the effort that we have applied in working for others, in starting and practicing the 6 perfections and learning about bodhicitta, or having done our best to practice bodhicitta and develop some wisdom of emptiness. So any virtue that we've accumulated, we then should dedicate as bodhisattvas to. It's mentioned as before, it's like putting money on the bank, so for the virtue not to decline or get destroyed anymore. So any merit, or the accumulation of merit and wisdom that we have gathered, we dedicate for all sentient beings, so that all their suffering may be eliminated. And then this also again mentions these 3 conceptual spheres that we touched upon earlier, which is connected to the wisdom of emptiness. We could think also of these 10 days now that you have been here. Always getting up early in the morning, sitting for long hours, and some of you might have found it difficult. Might have found to sit, because of possible knee pain or what. So all the merits that you have created as a group also, can make dedications for, the elimination of the suffering of all sentient beings, and so that all the virtue may, act as a cause for, oneself, and then eventually for all sentient beings to reach the state of full enlightenment. So that's the way the Bodhisattvas are going about that.
ngara 참에게 samya 타이는 준비하는 간조는 참에까지 저 근데 아니 상지 고마주 가서 주도도 임하나 아버지한테 뺏기지 몰라.
Yeah, so you as a group, worked hard. We worked hard, so it's good then to pray, that all the virtue and that we've created that acts as a cause for sentient beings and to achieve enlightenment.
Dici 이마 준도.
Do.
지기 내 싫어가 시도.
시요. do.
다디 단단하신 소대도 차더라. 소대도 차다. 디 소대도 좀 고베 진세를 되는 시도. 제가 그러는 도주이신다. 도라는 도체. 가라 수트라는 레죠. 도다 주제. 아니 땡주. 도주 땡주 나래 순비 되면서 제가 가서 산제라는 데다 하다가서 지단기 단디나 마부지 시라. 제세라래 시비 내거래로. 진짜 도다 아니 주다 땡주 나면 가라 순비면 참으라. 순비 되면서 담반 남지 순기 제단에 대자 아니 도다 땡주도 아니 지신 담반도 지부 담반도 순샤 주기디 아니 순기 제스 장원 가서 디기지라. 오늘 내가 그냥 따다 치마는 디제스 로야진 가서 답지다라. 아제 장안에 딱 가지고는 제세 남지 라네 순주 되는데 근데 라네 순서는 실로 순서는이다. 순주 되는 제세 가서 제세 람라 근데 그것은 제산지 티고에 진세 가르는 나라지 제세 상주 선배기 아니 주발에 해외기 근데 이 티바 이세로 근데 그래도
So then there are 4 additional verses, and the first one of those here reads, "Here I have set down for those who wish to follow the Bodhisattva path 37 practices to be adopted by all the Buddha's heirs, based on what is taught in the sutras, tantras, and treatises, and following the instructions of the great masters of the past." So this is again then kind of like an explanation, or giving the reason why this text has been composed. And which has been based, which is an explanation, obviously, of how the Bodhisattvas practice, and which is related or based upon all the teachings of the Buddhas, in the sutras, tantras, and other treatises by these great masters. So it's just saying that this is now complete, the text, which is an explanation of the 37 practices of Bodhisattvas.
근데 디 실로가 지마들 차랑 찌기다. 디 올치 시에도. di tamadala lebar da labar
Gets it? Lotu di.
do di tamadala
Menshi.
labar da lebar oh
Kepa kepe de jo machite dodang dampe sungla temperature.
tembe
Aleo,
jesen na jilale
laklen trulme lakpar.
labar da
Lakpar.
kemlo ta khanda khalla osna di ne ra ta khona yi shi ko da na samo bodi khona yi ra ngara lo de ni ya bo me ngara shiri de ya bo mes lo de me shi jangba chung ne khona yi lo jung de be che do de che mes de yi mission za ani de yi ma za kheba ji be sera kheba na gawa che yi de nga nga la di shi tu yi nga la pa ba mes ra karsa kepa jibi ise debjur machi chi chizan ke mi kepa do gawa che ngi gi tsig yapo dine dang pe ngyampo dine dang himpo dine ngi shi shi gi mes ra ani do dang tambi tan do saji gi sum do dang an tambi gi sum ro de che ra tambi gi sum na la tembi shir de zo na lo la sum sha ju de ani jese la ne jese gi tan nga chanchu se be la ne di tuwa me ba ra tu me de ngi gi pe yapo chen de da kala 라바라 샘드리가 소소 샘나 샤고 두래 도진스라 근데 인가라 슈시 시와다 나기 칸절라 베 슈펜 토야 된데 땡게 소투 마레스 이네야다 나라기 슈조 마투네스 아니 제세 산주 삼바스 두주기 냠네데 아니 제세 라레 소데 바지다 두주 삼 아니 나라즈 샘나 샤니 아니 냠네 야부체 우스라 투어메 발라네 야부체 우레스다 노티미 비토니 냠네 추신데 바지
Then the next additional verse reads, since my intellect is only feeble and I have studied but a little, this is not a composition likely to delight the connoisseurs. Yet since I've relied upon the sutras and what the saints have taught, I feel these are indeed the genuine trainings of the Buddha's heirs. So this is, again, the author speaking, being humble in that he's saying that he's not so intelligent and hasn't engaged in really deep studies or high-level studies, and that he has no confidence that the great masters will be pleased, because his words are not, beautiful. But anyway, but because his explanations, his text is based on the Buddha's teachings and the sutras and so forth. And what else it says? And that he has confidence. Nevertheless, he has confidence that his teachings is based on the Buddha's words and are unmistaken. Unmistaken. And so, in order to remind himself of the 37 practices and make them available for the readers, he's composed the text.
Tadila ngajang like doa ngajang jese chula jese ki chuba la ra lapchen jese ki chuba be lapchen mo ting sa ngajak sam ta ni de da kai mo sam da lapchen bu chira da ra de ki lapchen na nga do ji lo me ba ji ka shin re la ta ko ngi chi thame sam ko ra ra lo me dan de la nga do ji de ki ting sa bu da pa pa ka be ja chen bu de ji re jese shan chi chuba de ra jese la le de Tende ina ngaroji tende kipe ting sabu tende shingi mares ine yata korangi shi shadi gala dila ani shibi ne gala gyawa do da korangi tisha ji dila ra jing gyawa da ani chana zara gyawa mi jun zang tenda da ji gyawa mi jun do chera gyawa mi demi tenshin do tende gyawa mi bala so ba chayo na tende gi nyeba suzu ta kalo mandi pa tende chung yu na ra suzu chen cha do chung yu na nyeba la de chung ra ni tangban nam da tangban na ji zuban ze de so da de ni chana And then
the next verse is basically kaisa jangchu sempadang sangela sula gonda sigido.
Tambala digala tambala digala tambala kon jimi ji chen zaman do ta koro shi sa ina di la no chini do la na di ra kono ta ngi ngara shu kepa da de me wa insa ngi no tu chung sigire de insa an chung samai kono ta na so shi chung samal gonda la na di di mai ki di la no chini ki kansa jora do la ani o ko di abu tim de no sha samna kya gonda shi.
Okay, so the next verse is kind of like an apology to the readers. Apologizing for possible mistakes that he made while writing the text or contradictions and irrelevances. irrelevancies. As it says here, still the tremendous waves of activity of the Bodhisattvas are difficult for simple-minded folk like me to comprehend, and I must therefore beg the indulgence of all the perfect saints for any contradictions, irrelevancies, or other flaws this may contain. So he's again very humble, saying that as the Bodhisattva conduct is very vast, and someone like him, the author himself, would be quite simple-minded. He hasn't the ability to really comprehend. And therefore, then he addresses or expresses his apologies to the reader and the perfect saints, the noble ones.
Tadi tamadile kasana tele chumi ta korangi ji she ti na karitande ne te somyorwa tinde indigala ani tele chumi ge ani su ta ngara zina ta nga to lo che su gyo sa sha jura tinde wi ani ge karsa tele chumi ndwe ge wa namla tele chumi ge wa na ani ndo kon ra ani su chibu ge tenda de mai ge ndo kon ani ndo kon sa takalana tendamda konzuble de tenda shanju sen da kozu shanju sen yira tendam konzu shanju sen ji kis le tende tendam shanju sen ne konzu shanju sen so kanda shanju sen ji yisla teda ani signa shiwala de siba kala siba da shiwala je sisi nyira siba da shiwe thale se minepa ra ta zo ji siba da shiwe thale minepa ani shere zingo 대단 충분히 간다 가지고 신뢰지 나시 차버쇼 대단 충분 쇼올은 그런 편이죠.
So and then the very last verse reads, through whatever merit has here been gained, may all beings generate sublime bodhicitta, both relative and absolute, and through this come to equal Lord Avalokiteshvara, transcending the extremes of existence and quiescence. So here in the conclusion, he's then saying that all his merit that came about due to writing this text may it serve so that all sentient beings, or may it benefit all sentient beings, not just himself alone, but all sentient beings, so that all sentient beings may give rise to and understand conventional and ultimate bodhicitta. And become like Lord Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion.
Today in the time of the Dinalo Rachitangi Kazanga Zubig Junju Zubeli Ujangre, Kandanga the Jizilani, so then by the Chasan Rostora. Today in the time of the Dina Kama Shibadi, Yamana Shema, Lolan Joata, and the big kitchen, but the rest. So to Yama Duja in a Pajuata, Yama Shiraya Meba in the Yartime.
So having this now studied during these 10 days the text of the 6th chapter of the Bodhisattva Charyavatara on the patience, and now these 37 practices of Bodhisattvas, it's important to kind of make use of it so that our minds change, transform from working on developing more positive qualities and eliminating negative qualities.
Tande ni peshe na yang hwa de ni mangbu chi da. Tina che ngara zo ge che ro chron zina tha rum bu che le do sung mangbu chi tang chik de sai na khare na kangi thi la su ge chik kangi mangbu chi do ne che su le ga mangbu yi ra le ga so mai sha ani de tha rum bu chi le do sung mangbu tang ti chu tang ani ka le jeb ani che ra ma zo de ni ge sa ra de wi ge de ngara zo ya je se chen ju sem ba ko zo ge hwa ba na shi ngara zo ya hwa bu de be ke chen ba res.
And then so it's very important to make dedication prayers of all the merits that we have created, and you came from far away, spent quite a bit of money to come here, spend time, and it wasn't easy. So it's good to dedicate all the merit, the positive energy.
Tene dagi konza ngata di tenshi pura, tenshi yagi. Tenshi do di konza hong na long life puja le nganzo de tsering do re bai. Konza che de kutsering ya ichi de ren toba saida. Tene de konza toba sa sta nganzo khosra. Sutsering ya ichi de le. Da di jidang ge da nganzo ge konza chola ya kutsering ya ichi de re. Teri konza teli ge kori choba de ya ani labru choba da sha ari ge choba de do. laptop lap the TCV laptop laptop phone so yang chopa do chi re phimi chi ne ne sha ari gi chopa de ne ra phiri chopa ni chi re konzo gi nyam do chi ne phu ju da ta di phu di kala na konsa chul ta ku chen yor ni ten ro chi sta da do da sim je thang ji la mang bu ji la konsa chu pe pen do yor ra zam ni ga na ra mi mang bu ji la pe ba sang da mai ga zam ni shin ba na zo ge pe nga na zo xie dang li xi de te ben lo ra 시대기 디벤로 차고 제가 근데 인자 안캬 배 가서 참아라 고도 팬 도고도 안캬 그저 주는 무지 쇼로 지라네 아니 나가 저기 가라 하나제다 수선 버프고 라 수선 가라서 수놈 사야치들이 가라서 수놈 사와이나 아니 라마라서 가라서 참아 수놈 사 가라서 라메기 같이 와이나 라마 그저 무시고라 라 어디지 제들
You might have had doubt this morning about the long life puja. Whether it was for the sake of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's long life, or was it about for your own sake, your own in extending your own life? But obviously it was meant for His Holiness's longer life. And there were apparently groups from the TCV children were there, and then a group from North America. I mean, generally, all over the world, there are people, in support of the Dalai Lama, because he's really standing there, for peace, But anyway, but due to offering, this puja, or wishing for and praying for his long life, we thereby also, accumulate merit, and yeah.
대 다기 땡시 푸디가라 천서 통에는 메시메시 대 샤무도 거인 지금 저거 한번 타인 줄. 또 건조를 한번 입치래. 도줄레네 다 지난게 다 공사 졸라 자야 공조자 패실은 덴디 지난 덴디 쇼고라. 덴디 쇼가 되고다. 산제 공사 추천은 잠이가 마시 만조자라 표로질네 레가 레고라.
미셔면
디 천고 천데. 그러나 만단다가 저게 tenshi phudu gala lamudo tham leida tulunda manda kunde le khonso pechi thoi chi chen thoi tivina dende indi du kharsin le gola na khonso ene khonsa chu dende shu gale gota khonso za ya shu de miile ma shu tanda nga miile shu ran zamni ga shu ra khonso chu ta khonso hayu de dende la shu la ne lamudo za len sang bi kisher ya the sang bi kisher ye dire dende indi gala ani de khonsa chu ji kusu do ji soyor da kala da ku do soyor khonso Tisuni, that consumption de Shurochis, take it Sabia Tangilani, Kusu Dochin, Consu Kido, Consu Toin Homes, Ratina, then the Kido, take us Sub the Consul Hayla Tangor, Consumption de Shu, any consumption with Sabrogia, Lambikisher, and the Consu Domolado chicken, any Tamadal Consu the Kidur, the Kid Kawachi and Harbuji, the consumption de la Mule Sugar, the Laila, consumption with Sabgora, the Consul Tambikisher, the Thosa Consul Toin House.
There apparently were some actors with some costumes and dakinis.
Did you saw?
Acting, yeah. Did you see that? And they had I don't know, like a representation.
Yeah.
They had the 5 colors of the prayer flag.
I wasn't there. I didn't see. Okay. Anyway, so then they had a representation of His Holiness. And they were kind of like acting and this and that, and that was kind of like inviting His Holiness to their abode.
Yeah, and so that's why they were sending one dakini after the other away. By offering them and pleasing them and telling them to go away. Don't take His Holiness with you to your abode. So we are praying for his long life to him remain here. So yeah, that was the symbolic idea of those.
And what are dakinis?
Dakini ilana hamumane.
Dakini kandro.
Kando, 비실라 kando ingir. 다다 kando라 주.
What
그디에 다다 하고 메 다다 천천히디라. 고주기 지키려야지. 공사촌 장미가를 싫어지. 이차도 천설로 땅에 일해.
Yeah, so but the main idea was to wish for pray for His Holiness, to ask him to please stay here in the world, and therefore they took the representation.
저는 저기 미치 아니 나가질래 나가질래 쇼. 사실은 메로가니를 쇼라나. 라. 당가도 해드으면 나한테 되고는 kuchungi tsabla doro chila tangyo. Mazu tangyo da, chidangi shungule chi dine ina, soso makana mi shimba tangyo da. Tina shi, gongsa chu nganzo la di dero chi, tiki tsab shimba chi tangyo la ni, undi rosha. Undi la da, tiki koza yaba chakir.
It's as if, so for example, if I needed, if I was asked to go to McLeod but I can't go, I have to stay here for some reason, then, I can send someone else in my place.
Like this. Okay, similar like that. Maybe you not understand then, like for example, then it's easier. Okay. If you have no time, somebody call you. Then you have no time, then you send like another one, like this. Yeah. That is very good. This day, all na. Consultation ang zo so aje manam tene ani consultation bu dero chila gora. Ine ya ngazo gi sunam da ngazo gi chiba puwa ine re ngazo samut kale jewa ine da suzu gi ngazo gi lame gi ka hi duwa ra. Ani sunam ya posa ngazo thembu chi mi nu ma ya po chibu chin de wa ine sunam sa wa ine lama kutri ring du re sra. Te consultation ta dambudi la na disar.
Yeah, so by praying, for His Holiness's long life, for example, wishing for him to stay around for a long time, that accumulates virtue, and that in turn will be helpful or extending his life.
코츠림부 상제 때 가서 공사의 신도 츠림부 코츠림부 슈마슈디 만졸라 라레고라 마란서 소놈도 되네 마사 투바제 타도제 데세지나 라마 투니 마 페로라 라마 투제 에네신 제르부 슈라.
If the Lama stays around for a long time, that very much depends on us. If we behave nicely, and practice well, then they will be pleased. Whereas if we, behave badly and get into arguments and so forth, then they won't be pleased and will rather go earlier.
Any concept Korean Tana Karasons and the Korean Lambade, I shan't do send us when Yamichi and the Sons Pichi Koyir, Kazan the Shanju and Quality Genre, and the Korean Samatang and Epi Kibudusra, Nimakan Shugi alone and Shanju and Lambda, and Balu Shiti, Pikibudusunza. The Kosalet, the Sonsa Kosalet.
Did you hear the Dalai Lama saying that he, usually when he wakes up in the morning, first thing he, thinks about Bodhisattva, and that makes him very happy, very relaxed and very happy.
Kanazu di Komewa in a Tari in Tangira, not to the Thosamling so watched the Tinalo Tansha in digital translate Chijutu, yet didn't time, China time, control Tanantir. And then near Commander and the Churns of Joanna, near Commander Tina and Consonia Patanchora, the Kejuchido. Translation, Karkar Sumi Medina Sama.
So yeah, Kansiki Kabankan Consultina.
Near Commander Consultina and Diria, Konsonegi, Thosamling so watched the dinner time, channeling it dancing and Consolatina Divoria, Tahikala and radio, the Nikimiwine and Jani was.
Yeah. Anyway, so but Geshe was sharing this today the recording of the event this morning with an English translation. So for those who didn't have a radio and didn't listen, what was really going on, I'm happy to share and to send it to you. I'm happy to give you my address or however.
Is that on the
I also sent this
send it in the group, in our Thosamling group.
Yeah, it's
you also there?
I saw. Yes.
But it's probably on the website.
You're also in Thosamling group. Oh yeah.
It's probably
Yeah,
on the
then you share
there's a website dalailama.com. You probably find it there. Also, they have all these different languages.
Okay.
I sent it to Thosamling group. I saw. Then I sent it to Thosamling group and also her. I already sent. So I think this benefit all you all. Titai, didn't get a oh, then the good sitting there. Just a good Kora and the Chibudusa. Taking Kora's Tobakalana, Kundi would say him, considering we should achieve the real. Could you Karasonsalan Raja, Karasonslana? Maransadita, not setting with them, I did the chance of the Shanju sent to the Yamea China. Ra, any Sembashi with the Maransula. Digisun Shanju Sala Soba Yamea Wachana, Sonum Victoria, he to Tomambasara. That's all, Tomambasara, and Kansas Shanju Sim Yani Chevaina, the Cherubudia Impress. And Kansas Sonam Sai did say that you were my Java Juma, and yes, Sonam Sai Pekala, Shimado, check the Sunsa. Shimaraza, Simbachi would relate another Teredo, or then the Sunsa.
Anyway, so His Holiness also said that, because, it depends on us. When we accumulate, the merit and wisdom and, practice and learn about bodhicitta, that will benefit, or him in the sense that he will remain longer. And
he and our also. Yes, and
that naturally is a benefit for us as well. We, automatically. Then, by practicing, properly, and developing bodhicitta and so forth, that automatically will make oneself feel also more at ease and peaceful, and that has the effect of good health and longer life as well.
당아도 저기 가서 시대에 상주고 셈도 저래 뒤쪽에 냠니 제나 라마라야 팽도 소소라야 팽 사마라야 팽도.
Yes, it benefits everybody, studying about these things and then trying our best to put it into practice. It will not just benefit the Lama, but very much benefits us as well.
아니 신발 치워요. question이 왜?
Do you have any questions?
I have a question related to what you asked yesterday. So, if I was born in a specific family, in a specific country, city, I was there for a reason, a specific reason. So, if I just leave that place and leave that family, and perhaps I never go back permanently to that place, am I not leaving something behind? Like, am I not just like leaving something unsolved?
So you're referring to that Bodhisattva verse which says you must leave your homeland.
Yeah. But I also think about it because I keep I leave my hometown and I keep leaving my country, and I say I don't want to go back there, but then I reflect and I think, if I was born there, should I not just stay there and live there?
Kisira Korang Pejashana Lumpa Miseti Kibara Lumpa Chik Ani Nami Namla Kibara and the Gimsen Chikla Raligra Gimsen Chikla Tene Gimsen Yure Kite Nami di Lumpa di Kiati Gimsen Yure in a Kasam Gelti Latin Sutuma Namula Chik Susu Payupongwa Gelti Latin in Sierra and Kesi Susuhi Lumpa Payu Pasha and Sacha Shembala Dona. Dine Chichena Susu Nala this Leka Gimten Yuri Kansan
Payuan
Yaga
Payudla Shinchapon Shimbada Chapapon Pama Kata open get the Nichibuchila Kumara Payupon the Gala Naranzo the Payuda the Shinchapamajora the Shinchapang Rekochura.
So it's
Chitangi de Mare Bizuki Pong and the Suda Chuchi and Zango Goda Marasira, near Paypong, the Kran the Bitcoin, Pama the Cartel, Lumba the Cartel, and the Kodo, Tichipuma, Payuda, Pamala, Shinchachin, and Diba Mambo Sawara, Udipang.
It's mainly it's not abandoning your country or your family. It's all about the attachment that needs to be let go of. The strong attachment to friends, family, home, country, whatnot, because of which then all negative actions are being done. It's not like abandoning them in any way. It's like we said. It might be sometimes more or the conditions might be more conducive to be somewhere else for Dharma practice, but it doesn't mean you have to go necessarily elsewhere. It's about talking about the attachment for one's country and the attachment for one's family.
Okay, but what I'm asking is because I decided I want to go away. In that case, like, how does it work? If I'm the one who decides that I don't want to go back there, am I doing that just because I don't want to solve something there?
Kesi Suzuki Dupa Susu Dupa Sacha Shembalato ani ngane Sacha Shembala Duma kuna dene di ngane china nangla susu payu ani nangla la lik kase notul kase changma zoyagi Dupa yimarbe
Changma clean
de mare di nyota yona the mepa zoyagi Dupa mepa dang
Chisanga de la oda Shimbada Chapala the Sunami legend Kunduchewa the Chapachewa and the Bambu Chigi Dunara none of the Chigi Dunatu to the Shencha Point Chidanga Takalo Shencha Pongo Relora so did it. Chisichaki Kondra Naji the Chigi Nami the Deva in the Chan the Legi Chik Castle. Chigi mentioned such a card in the Chabashara. And so the color of the Chatham was a boy Chitla or Moto, Inji Mission and the Catacula.
In Conki Dupala, such as Yamalado.
Cosashima Dona Carchilla. Carchilla. Why you go like separated from this, your friend?
I just don't like to stay there, and I would like to live in other countries.
Why? like you means I could not practice the dharma. You mean like this, or some agreement your relation?
I don't know. I just don't find this the place for me. I'd like to explore different places, and I feel like I see myself more in other places than home.
That time you're like first you think very careful, which is the best in your life, right? You think first not to separate it very fast. First you think it very careful, okay, right? Otherwise you're separated from that. Then maybe you have a suffering again. So like whatever you do, like first you're thinking very deep. But actually I don't know your reason. So actually Pena chuzu kashi kagadoshina, nima kashi kagadoyan, tsulera chambulan dido. Tende yorumado, shimba bedkora karatewolene, di in the house.
Just saying again, if there are problems, they told me, if afflictions come up, again strongly, then it's probably a good idea, maybe to separate yourself. But otherwise, you have to see if there's a reason.
Like for example, we are like fighting, we are jealous each other, angry each other. Then you don't like me. So that time maybe you go another place a little bit. Then our like emotional anger and the attachment they come down. Then you come back and we talk friendly again. Like this. Okay. This no initial. Then did you I have
one more question.
Yeah. This okay for other?
No.
This okay? Question? Yeah.
So I was reading, and I was also talking with the group about it, that in Women of Wisdom, it said that it's told the story of a nun who has been repeatedly in retreats, but then she got very sick with cancer. And in this moment, she called another lay nun to her bed and said that she understood now that she was, instead of transforming her emotions, she was more like avoiding or facing certain emotions that were like really hard to her. So she was further repressing them, and that's why she believed she has cancer now, and therefore she passed away. And I was wondering if there's some sort of a practice or meditative practice we could do to look into the past 10 days, because I feel that I personally transformed some of my emotions. But again, I'm not sure if I'm just not facing them. So is there any practice to go deeper into this knowledge of what I've actually done with the emotions?
Women of Wisdom, the therapy.
Women of
therapy. Sigre depki mingre. Ani dinangla pumo chiki ani chiki lugu tishado. Ani ko da nikapsu samla de barwa. Ini tama di penaso cancer nasa chupukso. Ani dene da mi sembra kichati du con kalesiru zamba kalesiru sana con ki nyomong ya damanda di kaisa can I say dagas, how do you say this? The transform chituk mason. Can I look at it?
क्या बोला उनको पता
So you said the nun said something like in the hospital?
Yes.
Like, can you repeat what
Maybe
you said?
change.
Change, transform the emotion. When she's suppressed, she
Yeah, she said, so instead of transforming certain emotions, she came to the conclusion that she just didn't face them because it was so hard for her, so she was repressing them further. So just basically spiritually bypassing them.
And then
Putting layers of
came
spirituality on the
because of which she had cancer, is what she...
That's was the outcome of it.
तो एक बुक पढ़ा था
हाँ
इन्होंने,
जी हाँ जी
वो बुक में एक नन है
हाँ जी
जो हॉस्पिटल में था,
हॉस्पिटल में था
हाँ,
बीमार हो
हाँ बीमार हो गया,
हाँ जी।
उसको कैंसर आया,
ओ
तो उसने किसी को बोला कि मेरा जो नेगेटिव इमोशंस है,
कैसे आने की वजह
उसने बोल रहा था
जो अनी ने
दूसरा उसका फ्रेंड को बोल रहा था कि मेरा जो नेगेटिव इमोशंस था उसको मैं
गिव अप नहीं कर पाया,
वो बदलाया नहीं, उसको पॉजिटिव नहीं किया, परिवर्तन नहीं किया, नेगेटिव इमोशंस को ऐसा छोड़ दिया, इसकी वजह से शायद मुझे वो नेगेटिव इमोशंस की वजह से मेरा शरीर में बीमार हो गया,
नेगेटिव एक्शन छोड़ नहीं कर पाया, ये बोला
छोड़ नहीं कर पाया, तो
इसका वजह से
मेरा शरीर में बीमार हो गया और मर गया। अच्छा होगा कि मैं अपना नेगेटिव इमोशन को पॉजिटिव कर सकता था, ऐसा उसने बुक में पढ़ा था। तो अभी
अच्छा वो क्या अच्छा
नहीं, वो नन वो मरने के पहले ऐसा बोला कि अगर मेरा नेगेटिव इमोशन मैं ऐसा छोड़ दिया था इसलिए कैंसर आ गया,
छोड़ दिया, छोड़ने की कोशिश किया, छोड़ नहीं पाया ना।
उसको डाउट है, उसका मन में डाउट है कि उसने जो प्रैक्टिस किया उसको इमोशंस को बदलाया नहीं, लेकिन उसको सिर्फ ऐसे दबा के रखा, इसकी वजह से कैंसर हो गया। तो इसकी भी डाउट ये है कि उसको कैसे पता, उसको लग रहा है कि ये 10 दिन में ट्रांसफॉर्म किया है, बदलाव हो गया है, मतलब
जो नेगेटिव गिव अप किया,
हाँ उसको लग रहा है कि हम लोग ये 10 दिन में हम लोग जो किया उसका जो नेगेटिव इमोशंस था उसको बदल दिया है हमारे साथ सब कुछ ये 10 दिन में।
हाँ जी।
लेकिन डाउट ये है कि इस नन की तरफ उसने ये किया है सच में या दबा के लिए रखा है, तो कैसे चेक कर सकते हैं कि वो
अच्छा कोई
kan is ni ma churin da di ra di kola kan is gom
jor
so you ask how to meditate or
if there's any practice to look further into, let's say at the end of these 10 days to kind of sit with it, if there's any practice we could use to look further into if we transform things or if we're on the path of transforming or if we actually just avoid it.
Ja, so sem na la di nyomong la so ba ngene di nyempo tata peche shi tup so ma so di gom kanis kya pare di so sem tak che yang mena so nyom no dagas pasha
tanda ani di chila do ani gi dhungro shi da tere da korang gi chang korang gi gom jane ani ta gom di jane nyomo di pantu ma sunsra ra
tona ma che dagas tona ma che
nyomo di ma bang ni la ani korang le kensen na ni ko thong ba le la wala ra
근데 예수수 기념용 다 년보 다다 년보 다가 년보 파샤
년보 파샤
세상 년보 다도 유버로
예
세상 디라테네 삼콩
디고 kensen na de nyomo agi na lo
야 년보 매 파서야 이 라테네
nyomo me ba so ya gi chi ko kensen na re la wala
so sem du la테네 Neko tiba tsotu kone tana nga kon ni ma churing la susuki sem ngene du ngene gyu tu so ma so yang la kandes tapche che ko tiba tsotu re
ani di kesen na
di pere di ta kechi mo mare di tiba tsotu tana kone
we have a two question
mare tiba chikma to di pere susuki sem du tu so ma so di kandes haku
adi kandes na pena tachirang ma mi na mi nyam de ne keche sik su de ne shi de na tachirang na ba lo do ra na ba lo to to ma khare ni mo officer la chi ne ka ni ma chirang no la lam sang no la chu chu ye na ra nung lawa da mila tsik tsubar la o tari tani cheyam ranga ngone tisi nga zuba gumda jansares tanga di cheyam dulin hakorra ra tindero yan chanagi ki tari kumada jaghe ji mari da ina khada chi lapa ma zanzang kumado dine chen o di cheyam marin susugi nyema susugi duje chigi yunara chigi yumi hago masda kisi chigi yubi onto tanga ina di sano kogu yunare chigi yunare di shola mado ade kyonalan juwa tibara ra pena nga zoge amjigi lagido kira ani shogo masas ani meda masas ani kharuda chik zupol noya ji carbohydrate masala shedira no mas chik la tabu nga hago mare be shimbu sagora ani temaji kora ni ko mambu kodidiga ta zamda da jodo no sagoya chagirede zamza odi yapome adi zupol noya yesa nga sembachi tengido tedi chiparura.
Well, I guess what I understand, the real test will be, when you go back home, right? Back, say, to the office, and you find yourself in a situation which normally would have triggered anger, and then you've learned a lot about patience, and then you will. Then you have learned a lot, and then you can see in those situations or. I'm not implying that you used to go around and stealing, but I mean just to give an example, you can bring that knowledge with you, and then that will be telling you. It's like say you went to see, or the doctor gives some advice to avoid certain food like carbohydrates or what and then first you get this explanation, then you're aware of it, and then you try to avoid these things. So.
Like this, for example, like before you come here, then that time, but my English is not so good. Okay, maybe broken. Like usually you are angry with your children or your parents. Like this, for example, I don't know. Okay, then usually you did this. Then not happy, like argue with each other. Then not happy. So now, like you go back. Then you little bit change. Okay, now you think, oh, this is not good. So like some situations come. That time you're thinking, oh, this is not good. This is like my mistake. So like then that time you're like thinking this is your change. Right? So actually I could not like your emotion, negative emotion, I can't take out. But like we teach in these books, other books. So then we remember this, this advice like this. So if I do this, this is my mistake. So this is like a good advice or you change. Right? Like for example, like usually we don't know, like we eat food like meta.
It's white flour.
White flour, potato. Then we say, if we don't know, then they like very tasty, like I like this. Then we listen to the doctors' advice. Right? This time, many doctors they tell me in YouTube, the current do. So then we listen. Oh, then this is good. This is not good for us. Then we know. Then sometimes like we not find the food. Right? Like we are so hungry. That time we eat a little bit. But usually we not. Oh, no, this is not good for us. If we know, then we try to like give up this. Right? If we don't know, then this is very good like this. Right. So usually I also like butter, okay? Really? And I put in the butter in sambar.
Barley flour.
Okay, barley flour. Put in, then I eat it. Very, very tasty. Then the doctor check. Oh, your blood has some oil or
cholesterol.
Cholesterol. Then now I like try to give up this. So now I know. If I don't know, then like we go like this. Yeah, sometimes we think, oh, this is very tasty. Like okay, I eat and I also give other people. Oh, this is very tasty. You eat like this. So like this. Okay, like for example, like this. Right. Okay, now clear. The tagi phani the don't chita nami you dogo ya chita. The cut ya chita. Tinge the hiji jawe na. Right. I give up my like parents. 그게 남이 카테 마딩가 마부지 라이도 네티 시라 하면 근데 나라 친주인데가 사는 가르 땅에나 얘가 아차시라 아니 월부 숨히라 근데 나라다 아차기 월들 땡이 산다 지당기 니 아차베디어 민잠보 신잠보 야보라 나라에는 찍려가 있나 가르는 딱딱다 지고라니로 미 중배 보고래 엔덴들로 지니가 근데 미지 나 친주가 근데 이제 커미스 지는 아이치기 그 지금 나 지고래 근데 나라 상당다 엔데로지 되게 삼다 그들가 내가 사실 베베기 루스래야 부고치 인지민이 파만냥도 되고 파만을 로봇이네 라나도 남이 부고 신가이나 찍던 인지민이 파만냥도라 아니 되고에 루스주 그래서 때때는 사는 땅에 삼스다 나라 엔데로 대가치나 나빼지 지 칼로 지 메신발라 찍는 컴퓨터신 렌드체 가오로 상하치 코치가 나한테 렌드체 친구가 나 가오요 땡이 삼스다가 엔데로 되는 가 가르치긴 가서는 얘기 라마자를 치면 뭐 코디디 근데 인도샤샤는 야보에 말에 근데 방으로 취치고 있으면 마부지 코디라 근데 좀 당랑에 아니 치네요 살았어 나라라 근데 제외는 수수기디 거의 롱라야다 지 아니 수수기 컴퓨터신 체는데 근데가 뉴로라 봐 땡이 나는 되니 계시 부치에 아마도면 나 파마요고라 디유션은 드리마라 그래도 진짜라 땡이 아자님이 약본 잠보야 버려 그런 날에나 파마라에 펜토 아니 코랑이 미신 발은 렌드다 딘디시라 남도 고시고슈 전주 고요 말 테스밀르로요 아니 딜 nga 드셔나 그나는 되기로 딘디시는 가서 나라로 다 엔드로 치 tadi kuni the pen the penguin house ta handa suzugi ngara chin tawas ne nami chamala khatte dogo e jinse ro jura dende ro samsung stra na de ne nge sam da suzugi diba ma sa ya me shu che tu samare stra dende ro sam de
sakya
diba sagra tanga na de su be milun de de dende ma boyena ra thado de dende ma boyena kale khabra susu ta jin o de le na chi che do na ni phamala ne thene su ya dang mi shi bala phen to ya di ya ga yin sa de sam ngara gi tha de de chi yin ga chun ju yin ne nga sang lo ende chi khosum
Anyway, relating to your question, would like to share a story. I for myself, I gave up my home, my families. I mean, I left home, but still, there's a lot of affection, to my family, and were several siblings at home, and but as for my character, I was very competitive as a child. And as per Tibetan custom, it's usually when there are more children in one family, it's usually that one child stays with the parents to look after them. That's the Tibetan tradition, and I was kind of competing, and I wanted to, be the one. But then also I had the chance to hear extensive teachings, Dharma teachings, and my teacher told us about the afflictions, and we should work on the afflictions, and eventually this wish to become a nun came up more stronger, and the competitive mind became less. Of course, I didn't want to abandon my parents or anything, but I eventually then made the decision to come here and become a nun, and then in the end, my sister was the one to look after my parents. And I also thought that if I stayed on, at home, there's rather more chance, to create negativities and less chance for practice. So, and then I made this decision to ordain and focus more on the Dharma practice, in which I thought is a good way to repay my parents' kindness and kindness of other beings as well.
세상 코로나에 다기디 케다 중원이라도 따네 아니 제라 케 딘디치네 야가도 계산도 중원이랑 게 다기 사노소소 당거래요.
I mean, that's just to say everyone has. I mean, it's all very individual. One has to think about the benefits and drawbacks. Pros and cons.
코로나 내단을 따라. 니 내단에 콘도 내단 가라. 수수 내단 가라. 니 코로나 내단 니만이 내단이 하고 말아. 저는 지나게 내단 오늘 이렇게 하고 그래. 내단 들었더니 아니 말한 좀 민저 아니 가리 야가도 어디 가나 돼요.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know your situation obviously, but so it depends, on each one situation, and then to investigate that.
아니 니 samala, 다시 samala 아니 대수에 마고 가서 건다 쉬지다. 아니 그 땅 알아서 참을 거리 지원. 저 samala 펜도 중요히 비례와 유스.
Sorry for we are making a bit long today, but I hope it was, Kaisa? Was it but I hope it was all very beneficial.
아니 그런 섬이게 오늘 이마 줄이랑 오늘 전에 빼야군요. 지kal에 간도 거니 쿠야도 오늘 지 남자 지리테도 오늘 뭐 뒤져 따따따따 빼 마시 빼야고 치순스라 텔레촌 상말에 아니 두지 치슈기.
Thank you very much. You were so diligent during these 10 days. You know, never tired, sleepy, but you were always here on time. So thank you for that.
그런 정말에 나라기 도나 친도 하고 배 상황에 도나 일도 하고 배 통도 두스라 근데 이는 나라는 지 강시 지식이 제일은 지금 비전으로 떠도시 두스라 수수파기라 딱하고도 나랑 강시 말라고 상에 수술을 떠도시 리기 두스라 그런 정말 도나 빼면서 야고 치도 안 두지치스.
And also thank you very much for showing such a great interest. So it made me very happy, you know, teaching.
티처라 아니 가서 단다 딘든 차나 단다 가서 딘든으로 디천차나 가서 년도 빠르지자고라 내가 좀 마음바에 로지 니시 지진의 로지마 하리네 투시라 디 오가디 빠르나 돌네 가서 텐데 차이라.
So we do the dedication prayers, and then afterwards we can take a.
We just like to offer a mandala offering. I mean, I'm sorry we didn't do this in the beginning, but we just have a Thanksgiving mandala offering.
Okay,
so
do that.
Page 13, the short one.
Yes, and after that we will have a group photo, and Geshema says, you know, that we can, you know, maybe we meet again, you know, and anyway, after so many years, we can, you know, still remember. Maybe at the time we'll be old, you're really.